I'm the Alchemist Astrologer, and this is your May forecast for Sagittarius Sun, Sagittarius Rising, and Sagittarius Moon. You are represented by the Queen of Swords, so you may be influenced by an air sign person, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or perhaps you're taking on the traits of air. Could be a Sun, Moon, Rising, male or female. This Queen of Swords wants to make some decisions. Maybe she's an advisor to you, she's giving you some kind of counsel. She could be an attorney, a professional advisor of some sort, a teacher, mentor. She makes decisions, and this is a period where you're very determined to make some decisions, and likely based on some past disappointments that you've experienced, because this is a queen who has been through some things, some kind of hardship, perhaps a financial hardship. It could be illness, some form of betrayal, some challenge or setback. She may find herself divorced or separated or alone. So this is a queen who transforms her thinking in order to create change. And you will have an opportunity to use your intellect, to use your intuition to make some changes and to make some decisions where you may be faced with some kind of obstacle or some kind of impending negative situation. And because you draw upon your mental ability and your intuition, you're able to avert that, to sidestep it. So this is a queen who makes some decisions. Now, as far as love, because she's been through a lot, love has to make sense to her. Now she's got some experience under her belt, and she's not passing her heart out lightly. She's drawing on her wisdom. And, negatively, this may make her a little bit bitter, somewhat resentful, somewhat bitchy. And she may use words in a very pointed, blunt, sarcastic manner. Now, positively, this is someone who's very intelligent, very witty. She can hold her own in a conversation. She knows a lot. So she's very level-headed. And again, she's making some decisions, and she's not prone to being emotionally manipulated. In fact, she may be playing the field. So you may be taking these traits on. Perhaps you're looking at a variety of suitors, not because you're a player, but because you want to make the best choice for yourself. You're taking into account who is most compatible for you. You could also be making some decisions about the past. You have the Ten of Pentacles here. So, the history. You're making decisions based on the past, a history of some sort. You could also be making decisions that impact you financially. You're seeking some kind of security, both emotionally and financially. You're very concerned about not just today, but what can I do to establish something that will take me into the long term, a sense of permanence. You want to make decisions to connect to people who can offer a future to you, something that's reliable, something that's solid, somebody that, you can plan the rest of your days with, whether you want to get married or you want to just have a long-term relationship. You're looking toward the future in some way. So for some of you, again, you're getting some advice. You may be trying to, bolster yourself financially or emotionally so that you can find yourself in the best position to make some changes. And again, it's based on some past experiences. So for some of you, though, you're going after something, and your determination to get it may cause you to sort of misrepresent yourself. It's important to know who you are and present yourself with the reality of that. You may be looking at your partner as misrepresenting in some way. Now, it could be that after you do an assessment, you realize maybe you're not so compatible with somebody, or you don't share the same goals, the same interests. And really, why you came together with this person is because you were both hurting. You were both seeking to be healed. So you got together based on some shared disappointments rather than the things that you could achieve together. And for some of you, this was simply the conquest. You saw the prize, you wanted to go after it, and, it was just the feather in your cap. Or your partner may have behaved that way. So it's not really... And it doesn't have to be that negative. For some of you, there's just the strong desire to have affection And maybe you're going after a person because you need something rather than the real reality of what a relationship is and what it means. So for some of you, you're doing some healing. Now, for some of you, maybe you're connected to a healer of sorts, but you're trying to heal, whether that's physically, emotionally, or financially. You're trying to heal, a romance, and maybe getting clear about what's involved with, the process of romance, starting from those simple gestures, the show of intimacy, the connection. So for some of you, you're making some decisions based on your history, and you're looking back to try to heal yourself or a situation. Now, your partner is represented by the Justice card. Some of you may be dealing with the Libra, but others of you, it could be that your situation has now reached a legal concern. Others of you, you're just making choices. The main focus is fairness. Now, your partner may be focused on that, or you may be influencing your partner in such a way. But the issue is integrity, fairness. Something is not in balance, and you want to right those scales, or your partner does. So you may be looking at a variety of things. Who's sharing the responsibilities? How much of the obligation falls in your lap versus your partner? Or if this is a legal situation, maybe you're splitting assets or resources. For some of you, maybe you have some unfinished business between the two of you. Maybe you're looking at debts, or whether those are financial or emotional. And for some of you, this is about the inability to make a choice, whether that's between two partners, two opportunities, two possibilities. And it has to do with your partnerships. Your partner may be looking at what's fair in a partnership. What would be an equal exchange? What I put in, do I receive that in turn? So this is a mutual respect, love, and honor. And there could be situations that are occurring where either of you, if it's going well, you're feeling very devoted, very loyal to your partner. That alliance is strengthening because you want to support your partner. But for others of you, something has happened that you need to heal from. And perhaps you're now a fierce opponent of your partner. Maybe you're challenging one another. And it could be you're having to look at where your need for security or affection or love or loyalty has caused you to distort the attachment to another person or your partner. And so your partner may be taking some action, or you are. Now, maybe this is legal action. Maybe this is some form of agreement between the two of you. Or maybe your partner's taking action to restore some form of balance. That's tied to the past, because some past conditioning is affecting this relationship. You've got a lot of historical influence. The Queen of Swords is making decisions based on past negative experiences that she doesn't want to relive. You have this past life card. So you are weighing your options because of the past. Now, for some of you, this is going to mean that issues center around dealing with an ex, an old lover from the past. Maybe that's you. Maybe that's your partner. It could be that whoever you're involved with, you've got this unfinished business that may not even be from this lifetime. This could be some past life business that you need to attend to, or you're together again because that love is generating through many lifetimes. Now, your romance is characterized by the Sun and the King of Cups. So we have Leo here, and we have water energy. So now we have Leo, we have Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Sun, Moon, or Rising, or just the traits are important. So the Sun card says that there are opportunities. You're now, this is totally about romance. There's a focus on feeling good, your sense of vitality, your well-being, your ego, your drive, your desire. And you may be looking at the future of your relationship. You're making decisions that tie to your destiny, whether that's on your own, because the Queen of Swords can be very separative, or your future together as a couple. So you're focused on where you're headed, and you may be meeting with situations that provide some form of success or opportunity for you. There's something for you to be optimistic about, something for you to look forward to with regard to romance. Now, in some cases, though, perhaps you are frustrated, and that frustration is driving you to try to push a situation and in negative ways with negative results. Maybe you want the relationship to develop more quickly or in another direction. And so you're pushing based on your desires, and you end up burning yourself out or the relationship. And you may get burned, especially if either of you become arrogant, domineering, or bullying. So this is about maintaining that sense of diplomacy, what's fair, being friendly, congenial, even under negative situations, and allowing your frustration to inform you into move into a different direction rather than reacting negatively and undercutting what you hope to achieve. With the King of Cups here, there is an issue of support. This is a king who is protective, he's loyal, he's loving, and he's very intuitive. So, there could be a focus on the creative side of your relationship, getting creative in the romance. This is a loving king who listens to you. He cares about how you feel. He's offering support. He wants to protect you. There's concern. So what you want is very much a desire for him. And so maybe that is an important quality connected to your relationship. Now, this is a king who wants to perhaps impress someone, and maybe that's a focus. You have very strong desires right now. You want to impress your partner or improve your relationship or defend yourself, or if you're tired of what's been going on, perhaps you want to destroy this relationship. You're through. But this is generally a king who has connected deeply to another person. He realizes that perhaps life is better when you share it. The experiences mean more, and he's tired of being alone. He wants to share his life and his love, and either of you may discover that you feel more deeply than you even realize. And it's likely that your partner or the person of interest is feeling that same way about you. On the other hand, you could find yourself in a situation that's very complicated, that where you're feeling like this relationship is so difficult that it's not as emotionally fulfilling or as rewarding as you would like it to be. Especially if this is a king who is acting in his shadow. Because remember, you have the Justice card where there are some options, some choices to be made. And if that includes another partner, perhaps this king is, there's some infidelity. He may be unfaithful, or he may create a relationship, but he doesn't have the emotional maturity to sustain it. He's lacking somehow. And for others of you, this may mean somebody is giving away their emotions excessively. They're not in control of, they don't have mastery over their emotions. And it could be that one of you was projecting. You placed your partner on this pedestal, or you were on the pedestal, and all of a sudden, without perhaps a lot of explanation, the pedestal was kicked and the person falls to the ground. The reality of who they are doesn't fit the ideal or the romanticized image, and so the person is not mature enough to deal with the humanness of the other person. So for some of you, this could be, extremes. Somebody is too emotional, or they're emotionally oblivious. They want love, but they don't know how to keep it or find it. Or you may be dealing with outright insincerity, some kind of fraudulent behavior, or somebody giving over to some form of compulsion or addiction. Now, positively, again, this is support in a romance, something very flirtatious, loving, attractive. And maybe you're taking off together. Maybe you're going to take off on a trip. Maybe you're going to take off to Europe. Or maybe your romance is taking off. Or maybe if somebody's immature, they're just taking off. And it connects to friendship. The decision to take something slowly. Maybe you're being very discerning. You want to get to know who you're getting involved with, and maybe you want to start off as friends first. Let me get to know who you are before we go to that next level. Or it could be that your friends introduce you to somebody, or you suddenly decide that a friendship has romantic potential now that you look at it. Or it could be that, again, friends are weighing in on your relationship. So positively, a friendship takes off. It grows, it develops, there's potential there, or there's the influence of a friend that's somehow helpful in your romance. In other situations, maybe you're just going to take off. You're not going to devote the attention to your romance. Hey, I'm going to take off. Maybe I'm going to go hang out with my friends. The problem is this Three of Cups. And this is a card of, sharing with others, hanging out with friends, connecting in social situations, going out for drinks, going on a date. And information is shared. Opportunities to express how you feel from the heart, receiving appreciation and offering that as well. But this is a problem area. So information is especially critical to your situation. There could be some gossip, some rumors. Somebody may not be totally on the up and up. They may have embellished some aspect of their life or a situation. They're not quite telling the truth. They're being vague, or maybe they're outright lying, or they're feeding information that serves an agenda. Because whatever is crossing your path, whether the agenda is positive or negative, it's definitely serving a purpose. So you're going to have to take into account the source, what's being said. Is it valid? Is it true? And you also have a 3. And perhaps there's some third-party influence, whether that's an actual love triangle or just somebody involved in your affairs that's weighing in on it. And it's making one of you feel perhaps trapped. Maybe you're going in circles about how much to share, or what you've heard. This is a mental block where you're having a battle with yourself. You feel trapped, but it's a prison of your own making. It's a mental prison where perhaps you've been trying to find a solution and haven't been able to. You're going in circles. And there's some kind of mental blockage, whether it's you're repressing your emotions, you're not in touch with your intuition, you're not listening to information, or you're blind to the facts that are right in front of you. But this is about taking the blindfold off, having faith, trusting your intuition, and moving forward. Now, for some of you, something has fallen in your lap at the last minute. Something is changing your schedule, your agenda, your priorities. You're having to re-strategize. You're having to readjust because somebody waited until the very last minute to share something with you or let you know something, and it created a challenge for you. And the frustration is, why didn't you tell me sooner? Why didn't you let me know? I could have handled this a lot better if I had known from the beginning. So this is a momentary frustration, though. And there's some wisdom connected to it. Maybe you gain some information that ties to loving yourself more, or that your partner needed to. Maybe, things didn't go well. Something had to change because somebody realized, hey, you know what? I got to take care of me. This card says you need to be sitting down, having a brutally honest discussion with yourself. How much are you loving yourself? Are you taking good care of yourself? Emotionally, physically? Are you taking time to look your best, to be your best? And this quest for perfectionism, being really hard and judging yourself harshly, and in return also judging those around you harshly. This is about accepting your flaws, who you are, the tattered edges, the rough bits, everything. It's all lovable. So there's the wisdom that perhaps you need to love yourself more. And maybe, again, you're trying to heal. You're making some decisions based on exes past, taking action, dealing with your own history, looking at the history of the people that you're involved with. And the underlying energy is this 10 of Wands, What has become a burden to you? And where is it that you're taking on some self-inflicted burdens? Are you carrying too much of the load? Something is not fair and the scales need to be rebalanced. Either you're putting more energy in or the partner's putting more energy in. Maybe one of you is a workaholic and you need to change your priorities. This is about looking at your obligations, how hard you're working, and what are you getting in return. You may be putting in a whole lot of effort and you're not seeing a lot of result. Or you're putting forth effort and you're meeting with resistance, or you're resistant to something. So this is about looking at what you need to let go of. And so for some of you, once you make that decision that, hey, I don't need this, you open up a space for something much, much better, perhaps something you never anticipated to enter your life. This also says that either you or your partner may be blowing something out of proportion, perhaps, again, becoming too emotional about something. Does it really matter? We all remember the book, you don't sweat the small stuff. It could be you're going to have to decide to choose your battles wisely. What is it that you want to be investing your energy and emotion in? Because it's very draining and it's wearing on your health. For some of you, this is about, you may be a literal thing. Maybe you're moving. So this is about what direction are you working toward? Are you meeting with resistance? Are you resistant to moving on? Are you resistant to moving forward? Are you having to work to do that? So you're either, again, moving forward on something or trying to move away from it. And it may tie to putting some distance. Now, for some of you, again, this may be a literal move. Maybe you're moving, your partner's moving. Maybe you're in a long-distance relationship. Maybe you need to take things more slowly. This was a relationship that, whirled out of control. It took off before you even could catch your breath. And now you're looking at it and rethinking some things why you connected with this person. Maybe you're going to take a trip with your partner, or maybe this is a period where somebody is trying to heal. And it requires that the partner weather the storm with this person, go through the difficulty, go the distance with the other person. Now, your advice is, I take my time to reveal the sweetest secrets. So this is more of this idea of moving through something slowly, being very discerning, making thorough decisions based on the analysis and your intuition. The outcome is the Hermit card and the King of Swords. So now we have Virgo and we have this air energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. So you've got a lot of signs in here. The Hermit card says you may be doing some thinking. Perhaps you've withdrawn to do some thinking, to heal emotionally, physically, psychologically. You may be keeping people at arm's length, or your partner is. Or maybe you're in a relationship and you're just biding your time. You're just waiting for the next best thing. Or your partner is doing that. With the King of Swords here, it says you need to handle some things more effectively. You're going to have to make some important decisions. And maybe you're doing some research about that. Again, maybe you're getting some counseling. Now you have the Queen here and the King of Swords. And this could be a loveless relationship or a divorce or a separation or some issues that between the two of you where there's a lack of warmth or intimacy. The Hermit card says you're having to dig deep, whether that's within yourself or to get some kind of counsel or advice to find some answers. You want to shine a light on some things. And this is a process where you're being protected and you're going to gain some form of enlightenment. But it's going to come at some kind of cost. And the cost is likely to be a confrontation where either you or your partner is going to be triggered. Something is going to push your buttons, or you're going to push your partner's buttons, because one of you feels that you have the authority to make a decision, perhaps for the other person, that you know best. You've got the answers. And the point is learning to be of true service to your partner or to a situation, to offer up something with humility. And so there are some lessons that are involved with that, where one of you is going to find out that you simply don't know what you think you do. You just don't have all the answers, or your partner doesn't. So for some of you, again, you're in observance mode. You're looking at your partner. Your partner has said one thing, but are they living up to that? Are they doing something completely different? Is this words without action? Or your partner's looking at you? So you're taking some time to make some conclusions, and it's important that you are not overly emotional, that you use your logic and become objective about your situation, and look at it through a philosophical lens. Detach yourself and simply focus on the facts. And when you do, when you see things clearly, yourself and your partner, you're going to be able to make decisions that are best for you. You're no longer depending on what someone says. You're using your rational thought to determine whether it's best for you. You have to be careful, though, that you're not so focused on one area of your life. Again, we get back to that Justice card and having some balance, that you are oblivious or unaware to what may be brewing behind you. So, this is about looking at the big picture. Now, the King of Swords says that there are some decisions to be made. This is a person who's very good at problem solving. So you may be getting some information, gathering some research in order to solve an issue. Now, you may be dealing with somebody who makes decisions. This could be a legal connection, somebody of authority. The King of Swords is... his way of loving may be to solve a problem. So he may have issues connected to sharing his feelings, his thoughts, his true emotions. He may be afraid of intimacy. It may be difficult for him to say what he feels. Maybe he's not the best at, the romantic gestures in dating. He may not be particularly sensitive. And so there are times when his intellectual capacity is that's his calling card, and he may use that to dominate or decimate. So he may do what should be done for romance, but he's just not doing it with a whole lot of heart. Again, he may be reticent. He may be withdrawn. Maybe he's healing. Maybe you are. Somebody's reticent to make that first move, and it's creating some kind of handicap for the person. Or it could be this is a situation where you're connecting with somebody to get the information you need, an advisor, counselor, lawyer, judge, and because you gather that information, that connection is short-lived. Or you're in a relationship that didn't last very long. What is proving challenging is that the relationship is you are sending mixed signals, and your partner is. You're again, this is about looking at, you said this, but you're doing that. So the wires are getting crossed, either because of you or because of your partner. But there's some kind of invitation that may tie to home and family and creating a blissful home life. For some of you, this is an invitation to come to your house, or to maybe your partner's inviting you to their house. But there's a reticence to make that move. Or there's some mixed signals. Maybe they said they want a certain type of home life, and then they do everything that's opposite to that. So this is about creating some domestic bliss with your partner. Maybe you're moving in together. Maybe you're redecorating. Maybe you're purchasing a property. You're making some changes. It's about your domestic affairs and handling them more effectively. Now you have 3 major cards. And so you need to use the keys for those cards. The Justice card says that whatever you're doing with regard to your partner, you need to have integrity. It needs to be fair. And, you need to focus on not making decisions based on your own prejudices. Remove the emotions, look at the facts, and be honest about yourself and your partner. With the Sun here, you need to practice your skills of diplomacy. That's reinforced by the Justice card. Be mindful of how you're speaking to your partner and whether you're being fair. And if there's some frustration, use that frustration as a means to better the situation or to drive you towards success. And the Hermit card says you need to maintain your sense of logic and not be irrational about what's going on. Now, for some of you, this is about choices among lovers. There's a decision about perhaps a third party, a competition for favors, could be some rivalry, some jealousy. Or again, somebody's sending some mixed signals. There are multiple ways of acting or behaving or attitudes towards someone. And it's creating some kind of frustration. Again, that third party interference. Now, maybe for some of you, this is centering on a legal settlement. For some of you, maybe this is a health issue. Maybe there's some kind of minor surgery or something that has to be dealt with. But it could be there's been a breakdown in the communication or the negotiations somehow. Things are not being said, and when they are said, it's painful to hear. So you're having to deal with that, and it has to do with sharing this information, whether it's gossip, rumor, or, third parties, infidelity, unfaithfulness. And there's something related to your situation that is bringing something to conclusion. You have a number of tens here. So there's some kind of conclusions regarding people and property. And whatever it is, this is something that is coming back around for you to deal with, to give more thought to. So there are going to be some challenging developments and some changes in your plans. And it ties to your striving for recognition, for success, whether that's with your partner or in the external world, your place in the world. And are you behaving in ways that support that, or are you hurting yourself somehow? You're likely to get whatever it is that you're going after, but you're going to have to use the Hermit to tie up some loose ends, to deal with some things that you've been putting off, that you haven't wanted to face, that you haven't wanted to deal with. And in that process, you're going to become enlightened. You're going to know more about yourself, perhaps your partner, about relationships. It's going to change your perspective and broaden your horizon if you open your eyes to it. Whatever you hope for, it's going to come in a slightly different package, in a different time frame. Things are not going to unfold just the way you've pictured. But you are going to have the opportunity to meet your commitments or clarify, repair, or improve some aspect that ties to your domestic life, your home situation, your work, your health, your daily routine. All right, Sagittarius, I hope you enjoyed this reading. Don't forget to subscribe, and please hit that signify bell button. Make some positive change in your relationship. Let's create a love revolution.